sweets and ate it during her break. So did her colleague. The candy tasted normal, slightly sweet with a hint of coconut. What they could not detect was the presence of cantharidin, a substance extracted from blister beetles. The manager had laced the sweets with a lethal dose of the chemical, historically known as
Bro, you... I can't even say it on YouTube, bro. Yo, what's good people? Today we're watching The Most Painful Way Can Kill You. Anyways, let's get right into the video.
Burning from within. A 21-year-old student died on April 12, 2015 at approximately 3:25 p.m. in Shrewsbury, United Kingdom. She purchased diet pills.
The UK. Okay, this feeling a little too local. It's feeling a little too local. Can I say that?
Online, seeking rapid weight loss. The pills contain 2,4-dinitrophenol, known as DNP,
I ain't ever buying no pills off the internet, bro.
an industrial chemical used in the manufacture of explosives and pesticides. What she did not know was that DNP fundamentally disrupts how the human body produces energy. She swallowed the capsules in the early morning hours, 4 pills at 4 a.m., then 4 more when she woke. Within hours, her metabolism began to accelerate beyond normal limits. DNP works by uncoupling oxidative phosphorylation, the process cells use to convert food into usable
I'm guessing she was having way too many, because 8 a day, 8 tablets a day, you're telling me that's necessary.
energy. Instead of producing energy efficiently, her cells began generating pure heat. There was no way to reverse the process once it started. By mid-morning, she knew something was wrong. DNP poisoning causes the body temperature to climb rapidly, producing symptoms including nausea, vomiting, flushed skin, excessive sweating, rapid breathing, and rapid heartbeat. She drove herself to Royal Shrewsbury Hospital, arriving at the accident and emergency department at 9:56 a.m., still fully conscious and able to describe what she had taken. Doctors immediately recognized DNP poisoning, but they also knew there was no antidote. The medical team worked frantically to cool her down. They packed ice around her body, used cooling blankets, and administered intravenous fluids. Nothing worked. The heat was being generated from within every cell in her body simultaneously, a process that could not be stopped once the chemical entered her system. She initially remained conscious and sent text messages from the hospital writing, "I think I am going to die. I'm so scared." Court proceedings later described her death as most distressing. Her mother stated that her daughter was literally burning up from within as doctors attempted to save her.
Scary.
The hospital staff fought for hours.
That's actually scary.
But DNP poisoning follows an irreversible trajectory. Once the chemical disrupts cellular respiration, the body cannot stop generating heat. Her condition deteriorated throughout the day. Her heart stopped that afternoon. She had essentially been cooked alive.
Yo, guys, this is a sign. Don't take no Ozempic, no, none of that. Anything. Listen, any health pill, just don't take it unless it's vitamins. Maybe then that's cool. You know, taking a bit of vitamin C, stuff like that. You get what I mean? That's cool. But like any other health pill where it's like, oh, you can lose this much weight or you can put on this much muscle, just go to the gym instead. You know, it's a lot healthier. You know, you'll feel better about yourself. It's a confidence booster, and there's so many ways it's just better than just dropping the weight. Because it's like, even if you do achieve your goal right from the pills, you're dropping all the weight and you're not really gaining any muscle, nothing like that. So you might lose weight, but then you're also still not healthy because you're going to have nothing to you. You get what I mean? Otherwise, if you went to the gym, you know, even if you don't have too much to you, you can still train cardio a bit, you know, do stuff to make yourself a bit more healthy. And it works on your mind too, not just your body.
Modern medicine could do nothing but watch. Hallucinogenic gangrene horror. A 22-year-old college student died on May 13, 2011 in Oklahoma, United States. He consumed what he believed was a standard hallucinogenic research chemical at a party near Kanawha. The substance was thought to be 2-CE, a synthetic hallucinogen, but what arrived was actually bromo dragonfly, a compound so potent that a dose smaller than a grain of salt can be lethal. Because the drug was mislabeled, those at the party took doses appropriate for 2-CE, receiving in some cases 100 times the normal dose of bromo dragonfly. He consumed the substance on Saturday Saturday evening, May 7th. The chemical is known to cause extreme vasoconstriction, clamping down on blood vessels throughout the body with immense force. The drug's known effects can cause circulation throughout the body to deteriorate. The drug's effects can last not for hours, but for days. He was placed in critical condition and remained hospitalized for 6 days. Bromo dragonfly overdoses are known to cause lack of blood flow, which can lead to tissue suffering from oxygen starvation. At the same time, the drug is documented to produce terrifying visual distortions and paranoid delusions that can continue for extended periods.
Bro, imagine you're like tripping off your head whilst your legs literally falling off your body. Yo, that's a scary sight.
Victims of Bromo dragonfly overdoses experience a nightmare that exists both in the mind and the body. The hallucinations are documented to be relentless and disturbing. Users report seeing things that are not there, hearing voices, and experiencing complete breaks from reality. In cases of severe overdose, medical intervention often cannot reverse the vasoconstriction, as the drug bonds to receptors in the vascular system. Both deaths from the May 7th incident involved violent seizures. Victims' bodies convulsed uncontrollably as their brains struggled against the chemical assault. The documented combination of severe vasoconstriction, prolonged hallucinations, and neurological damage can push the system past the point of recovery. Both victims vomited blood as their conditions deteriorated. The seizures can intensify in Bromo dragonfly overdoses. When the cardiovascular system has been
I feel like that's the worst thing about it is how long it's taken. You get what I mean? That's not just like some quick thing.
Compromised by days of extreme vasoconstriction, it cannot sustain the additional strain. He died 6 days after the party, on Friday morning, May 13th, at Valley View Regional Hospital. The unpredictability of mislabeled
Don't do drugs.
synthetic research chemicals had turned a single decision into days of suffering for 8 people, with 2 deaths and 6 hospitalizations. Botched game over protocol. A 38-year-old death row inmate died on April 29, 2014 in McAlester, Oklahoma. He was scheduled for lethal injection using an experimental combination of chemicals. Oklahoma had recently switched to a new protocol after pharmaceutical companies refused to supply traditional compounds. The state planned to use midazolam as the sedative, a drug never before tested in this context. The process began at 6:23 in the evening. Prison staff inserted intravenous lines into his groin area after nearly an hour of failed attempts at his arms, neck, and feet. The first chemical, midazolam, was administered to render him
I mean, to be fair, he's on death row, so like he must have done something to deserve it, right? So I don't even feel bad for that more time.
Conscious before the paralytic and heart-stopping agents would follow. The protocol required him to be completely unaware before the next phases began. But the sedative did not work as intended. 10 minutes passed. A doctor checked his consciousness level and declared him unconscious. The paralytic drug was then administered, followed by potassium chloride to stop his heart. Standard protocol stated the entire process should take 10 to 15 minutes. What happened next shocked everyone in the chamber. His eyes opened. His body began to writhe and convulse on the gurney. He attempted to speak, his mouth forming words while restrained. The paralytic should have made movement impossible if he were truly sedated. Witnesses watched in disbelief as he strained against the leather straps, clearly experiencing pain and distress. Prison officials lowered the blinds at 19 minutes, blocking witnesses' view. An inspection revealed the intravenous...
In all fairness, bro, like, he's on death row. He had to have done something just to deserve it.
Line had ruptured. The chemicals had been leaking into the surrounding tissue rather than entering his bloodstream. Without proper delivery, the drugs were causing localized damage while failing to achieve their intended effect. He remained partially conscious, trapped in his own failing body. The execution was halted at 33 minutes after the drugs were first administered. Officials discussed taking him to a hospital, but did not. He died 43 minutes after the procedure began. The entire ordeal had been partially witnessed by members of the media and victims' families before the blinds were lowered. The state of Oklahoma temporarily suspended lethal injection protocols following the incident. The inmate's ending remains one of the most disturbing examples of pharmaceutical failure in American criminal justice history. Aphrodisiac candy tragedy. A 27-year-old office worker died on April 27, 1954 in London.
From what? Eating candy?
In England. She was an office worker at a chemical manufacturing company. Her manager had developed an attraction to her. On Monday afternoon, April 26th, the manager arrived at the office carrying a box of homemade coconut ice candies.
Bro, what did you do to this candy, bro? Please don't tell me you did some sick shit to it.
Which he offered to her and her colleagues.
Was she allergic to coconut?
Accepted one of the pale pink sweets and ate it during her break. So did her colleague. The candy tasted normal, slightly sweet with a hint of coconut. What they could not detect was the presence of cantharidin, a substance extracted from blister beetles. The manager had laced the sweets with a lethal dose of the chemical, historically known as
Bro, you... I can't even say it on YouTube, bro.
Fly and falsely believed to be an aphrodisiac. Within 15 minutes, both women began experiencing severe abdominal pain. The cantharidin was already attacking the lining of their digestive systems and urinary tracts. The chemical causes blistering wherever it touches living tissue.
You weird ass nigga, man. Weird ass nigga.
Internally, their organs were being burned and shredded as if exposed to acid. She collapsed first. Severe pain radiated through her torso. The blistering extended into her kidneys and bladder, causing massive internal bleeding. She took a taxi home, vomiting repeatedly, before her doctor arranged for her admission to hospital. Doctors could do nothing to stop the damage already underway. Cantharidin poisoning has no antidote. The chemical had already bonded to cellular structures throughout their urinary and digestive systems. Their kidneys began to fail as blood filled their bladders. She died in the hospital on Tuesday, April 27th.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Why is my screen tweaking? Hello? Guys! Hello? Okay, there you go.
Her colleague also died that same day. Both women succumbed approximately 24 hours after consuming the poisoned candy. The manager was arrested immediately. He confessed to poisoning the candies, believing the chemical would make her attracted to him. He was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 5 years in
Bro, weird ass guy, bro. Bro, some guys really be doing all this because they can't get none. But that's crazy work.
prison. Vending machine murders. A 52-year-old man died on September 13th, 1985, in Tokyo, Japan. He drank from a free bottle of Oranoman C, a popular energy drink that had been placed near a vending machine on September 11th. The bottle had been placed there by an unknown killer exploiting a promotional campaign. What he could not know was that the bottle had been laced with paraquat, a deadly agricultural herbicide. He fell ill and died 52 hours later. The paraquat had caused fatal damage to his body. Paraquat is an agricultural herbicide used to kill weeds. When ingested by humans, it causes progressive and irreversible lung fibrosis.
But why would somebody put that on there, though?
The process, once started, cannot be stopped. There is no antidote for paraquat poisoning. The chemical works by generating free radicals that destroy lung tissue at the cellular level. In paraquat poisoning cases, the chemical accumulates in the lungs, causing them to become rigid and fibrous, preventing oxygen absorption. The body experiences...
Bro, why would somebody want to do that? More time. Some weird people, bro. Some weird people on this earth.
Progressive respiratory failure as the lungs lose their ability to function. Patients suffer from increasing difficulty breathing as their respiratory system deteriorates. He was one of at least 12 victims in a random poisoning spree that terrorized Japan in 1985. The first known case occurred on April...
Some people are sick, man. Stay safe, guys.
April 30th in Fukuyama, Hiroshima Prefecture. The killer, taking advantage of a buy one get one free promotional campaign by Otsuka Pharmaceutical for Oranoman C drinks, placed poisoned bottles in and around vending machines across western and central Japan, including Tokyo. Victims believed they were finding free promotional bottles when they discovered the drinks. In response to the crisis, the National Police Agency launched a nationwide campaign in late September. Authorities distributed warning leaflets throughout Tokyo and urged citizens to inspect vending machine slots and bottle caps before consuming drinks. Warning stickers were placed on Japan's 5.2 million vending machines. Despite extensive investigation, police were unable to gather sufficient evidence. The case remains unsolved, and the perpetrator was
so the passenger's still out there, bro.
never identified. Strychnine tonic poisoning.
That's sad.
A 76-year-old woman died on February 28, 1905, in Honolulu, Hawaii. She was the co-founder of Stanford University and one of the wealthiest women in America. 2 months earlier, she had survived a poisoning attempt in San Francisco when someone laced her mineral water with strychnine. She traveled to Hawaii believing she would be safer there. On that evening, she prepared for bed in her suite at
and they just happened again.
the Moana Hotel. Her secretary prepared a glass of bicarbonate
don't tell me it's the secretary.
of soda, a digestive remedy she took regularly. She drank the mixture and immediately tasted something bitter and wrong. Within seconds, she knew she had been poisoned again. The strychnine worked rapidly. It blocks glycine receptors in the spinal cord, removing the body's natural brake on muscle contractions. Every muscle in her body began to contract simultaneously with extreme force. Her jaw clamped shut so violently that she could barely open her mouth to scream. Her back arched backward as the muscles along her spine pulled with unnatural strength. She remained fully conscious. Strychnine does not affect awareness or consciousness. She experienced every moment of what was happening to her body. Her limbs went rigid, her fingers and thumbs clenched into tight fists, and her face contorted into a grimace known medically as rhesus sardonicus. The muscle contractions were so powerful that her bones were at risk of fracturing from the internal pressure. Her maid heard the commotion and rushed into the room. She tried to speak but could barely move her jaw. The words came out broken and desperate. She was begging for help while her body twisted against itself. The contractions came...
It was for sure the maid, bro. No, I mean for sure the assistant, bro. Secretary or whatever.
In waves, each one more intense than the last. Between spasms, she gasped for air, but the next wave would lock her chest muscles and prevent breathing. The convulsions continued for approximately 15 minutes. As a doctor tried to help her, she exclaimed through clenched muscles, "My jaws are stiff. This is a horrible death to die." She was then seized by a final tetanic spasm. Her heart, also a muscle, was forced to work against the constant state of contraction. Eventually, it could no longer sustain the strain. At 11:30 that night, the 76-year-old woman died in agony, her body frozen in a position of extreme muscular rigidity. The murder was never officially solved. Hallucinogenic bread hysteria. An unidentified man died on August 24th, 1951, in Pont-Saint-Esprit, France. He was a resident of the small town in southern France where, over several days, hundreds of people began experiencing violent hallucinations and physical agony. The source was bread from the local bakery, contaminated with ergot fungus. This parasitic fungus grows on rye and contains alkaloids that are chemical precursors to rainbow candy. Residents who consumed the contaminated bread from the local bakery began showing symptoms on August 16th. Within hours, many began feeling a burning sensation in their limbs, as if their arms and legs were on fire from the inside. The ergo-alkaloids cause severe vasoconstriction, cutting off blood flow to the extremities. At the same time, the hallucinogenic compounds crossed into their brains, distorting their perception of reality. By nightfall, the entire town had descended into chaos. People ran through the streets.
Bro, that's even worse. Yeah, everyone else is going crazy too. And then, bro, did everybody have the same bread? If everyone else is going crazy too, and then you're going crazy, it just makes you feel like you're tripping even more because you're like, oh, yo, are these people even real?
Screaming that they were being consumed by flames. Others claimed to see demons and monsters emerging from the walls of their homes. For those
my fault, guys. This is the last video I'm recording today, so I'm just feeling a bit tired.
Hospitalized, hallucinations intensified over the following days. Many believed their bodies were transforming, that they were no longer human. The local hospital was overwhelmed. Doctors struggled to restrain patients who thrashed violently, convinced they were under attack by invisible forces. Some had to be tied to beds to prevent them from hurting themselves or others.
Guys, the doctors really went, nah, this voodoo.
Dozens were brought in, but many patients' delusions reached a point beyond medical control. On the night of August 24th, during what doctors called the apocalyptic night, the man jumped from a second-story window shouting, "I am a plane." He fell to the ground and died from his injuries. The night claimed like multiple victims while inside the hospital. Dozens of others continued to suffer from the same contaminated bread. The town's mass poisoning lasted for days, with several more fatalities. It remains one of the most disturbing examples of ergot poisoning in modern history. Synthetic hallucinogen shock. A boy died on December 14th, 2013, in Frisco, Texas. His parents had left town on business, leaving him in the care of his older brothers. That evening, their friend brought over what they claimed was rainbow candy, a well-known hallucinogen with a relatively safe profile. What he actually provided was 25I-NBO-Me, a synthetic compound that mimics rainbow candy's effects, but is
on purpose. Yo, can't see my but yeah, you guys can see what that says. But on purpose.
Far more toxic. The boy placed a small square of blotting paper on his tongue. The dose appeared tiny, barely larger than a fingernail. He expected a mild visual experience similar to what he had heard about from peers. The chemical absorbed through the mucous membranes in his mouth and entered his bloodstream within minutes. 25I-NBO-Me works differently from rainbow candy. It binds to serotonin receptors with extreme potency, but it also causes dangerous cardiovascular effects that rainbow candy does not. Research on 25I-NBO-Me intoxication has documented rapid increases in heart rate and blood pressure. The drug's unpredictable toxicity meant that even a standard dose could trigger a fatal response. The bad reaction was immediate. He and his brothers, along with their friend who had also taken the drug, became violently ill. He began convulsing. His older brother called the police. All four were rushed to the emergency room. He died an hour later at the hospital as a reaction to the substance, according to the Collin County Medical Examiner's Office. Medical case reports of 25I-NBO-Me fatalities have documented seizures, cardiovascular
Damn.
collapse, organ failure, kidney damage, and dangerously elevated body temperatures as causes of death from this compound. His eldest brother spent several days in the hospital, unable to speak coherently for nearly 2 days, but he survived. His older brother and their friend also required hospitalization, but recovered. The boy died from a single dose small enough to fit on a piece of paper.
Damn, yo, don't always trust what people give you, man. Bro, that's crazy, man. I don't know if I can say it, but that's got a bit of a body count. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys in the next one. If you guys enjoyed, drop a like and sub. You feel me? I appreciate it a lot, guys. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Afusa. Peace out.